Hi everyone, I am Dr.T.Kiruthiga, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Commerce with Professional Accounting. Today we are going to see about the sampling and the sampling methods. So sampling is an essential part of any research project. The right sampling method can make the validity of your research, and it's very important to choose the right method of sampling. Next we are going to see about the sampling methods. There are two sampling methods, probability sampling and non-probability sampling. So we are going to see about the probability sampling. Probability sampling is a sampling technique where a researcher selects a few criteria and chooses members of a population randomly. So there are four types of probability sampling. The first one is simple random sampling. One of the best probability sampling technique that helps in saving time and resources. It is a reliable method of obtaining information where every single member of a population is chosen randomly. Each individual has the same probability of being chosen to be part of a sample. The next type of method is cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is a method where the researcher divides the entire population into sections or clusters. So clusters are identified and included in a sample based on their demographic parameters like their age, gender, location, etc. The third type is systematic sampling. Researchers use the systematic sampling method to choose the sample members of a population at regular intervals. So it requires selecting a starting point for the sample and the sample size determination that can be repeated at regular intervals. So this sampling method has a predetermined range, hence this technique is the least time consuming technique. And the last one is stratified random sampling. The researcher divides the population into smaller groups that don't overlap but represents the entire population. So these groups can be organized and then draw a sample from each group separately. So these are the four types of probability sampling. The next one is non-probability sampling. The researcher randomly chooses the members for research. So this sampling method is not a fixed or predetermined selection process. This makes it difficult for all the population to have equal opportunity to be included in the sample. So there are 5 types of non-probability sampling. The first one is convenience sampling. Samples are selected from the population only because they are conveniently available to the researchers. Second one is consecutive sampling. This method is very similar to convenience sampling with slight variation. The researcher picks a single person or a group of persons, then they conduct the research over a period and they analyze the result and move on to the another subject or another group if they needed. The third one is purposive or judgmental sampling. Here the selection of sample is not based on chance. Instead, the researcher selects the participants for the study based on certain specific criteria that are predetermined by the researcher. For example, imagine a researcher who wants to study a public policy issue for a focused group. The researcher might purposefully select participants with knowledge in that particular area, for example, economics, law and public determination, and they can take the advantage of their knowledge and they can ensure a depth of understanding. The fourth type is quota sampling. This method involves dividing the population into subgroups or quotas based on their certain characteristics like age, gender, socio-economic status and so on. The last one is snowball sampling. Snowball sampling is a research method that involves asking the participants to refer others who may also be eligible to participate in the study. It's often used when the researcher have difficulty finding participants for their study, such as for hidden populations or sensitive topics. For example, researchers may start with a small group of patients diagnosed with a range rare genetic disorders, and then they may be asked to refer some others who they know with the same conditions. So these are the non-probability samplings. Next, we are going to see about the difference between the probability sampling and non-probability sampling. In probability sampling, samples taken from large population are chosen based on the probability theory, and in non-probability sampling, the researcher chooses the samples based on subjective judgment. In probability sampling, it is random sampling, and in non-probability is non-random sampling. In probability sampling, they are used for research which is conclusive. Here in non-probability, they have been used for exploratory. Then in probability sampling, they involve long time to get the data. In non-probability, there are easy ways to collect the data quickly. Then in probability sampling, quantitative studies has been used. In non-probability sampling, qualitative studies has been used. Then samples taken by the probability serves to test the hypothesis. Here samples taken by the non-probability serves to generate the hypothesis. So these are the difference between the probability and non-probability sampling. Thank you.